right. Thanks for joining us. We have two wonderful people today on the podcast. We have James and Aaron Brains, who are, I guess I would put you as the head honchos of the Lansing Foodies group.
It's our official title.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
That business card is probably the coolest business card I've ever seen. James Brain, head honcho, Lansing Foodies. So you guys, I mean, we're obviously all familiar with each other, but I'd love for you to spend a little bit of time kind of talking about yourselves, the group, let us kind of know how this whole thing started, and we'll kind of go from there.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us, Matt. We love what you are doing for the community and what you've done through Saddleback, you and Travis, and yeah. So yeah, we started Lansing Foodies back in, well, I started it in 2017. I created the group on Facebook, and I was living in Eugene, Oregon at the time, but I knew I was going to be moving to Lansing, and I knew I was a hungry boy and wanted to eat lots of food, and I needed to know where all the good eats were, and there wasn't a Facebook page available. Like, I couldn't find anything, so I created the group, and I had friends on the ground here in Lansing who also joined and started posting stuff in the group. And so by the time we got there a few months later, we were kind of running. We had about 100 members, and I knew where to eat. And
was that a thing in Oregon when you were there? So there were multiple of these groups there, and you're like, why the heck doesn't Lansing have one?
Well, there was Eugene Foodies, which was really active, and there were a lot of gorgeous pictures on there, and anytime people would go out to eat and had a really great experience, they were posting there, and they were having events and doing things. So we're like, oh, cool. Well, that'd be something we want to make sure to, check out when we get to Lansing. We want to have a similar kind of, vibe going on, and it just wasn't there yet. So
it really started kind of on we just want to know what the hell's going on. We just want some advice of we're going to be new to the area. Let's go from here. That's interesting. I didn't know that part of it. I thought for some reason it was just a grand, scheme type thing where we want to showcase all these people and places. But no, that's really cool. So there was no expectations in the beginning of this thing. This was just a group. Hey guys, coming in here.
Yeah, pretty much. I had a couple of friends who were kind of in just doing great things in the Lansing community, and so as the Lansing Foodies group grew, I realized this could be my way to give back to the community, and
contribute and have some sort of impact, because that's we're getting older, and we want to we're no longer young people that just kind of are out to party and stuff.
Well, keep that. I mean, I still like to have a good time every now and then.
Yeah. But some mornings I wake up and I'm just all right, I guess I'll just go and do stuff. But well, yeah, we just wanted to, that was kind of one of the things that when we were kind of scoping out where to move in Michigan, we wanted to have somewhere where we had, friends that we knew were doing things, and we could maybe jump in on what they were doing as far as helping, kind of build community and, impact community. But, we didn't know where our niche would be, but it happened to be this. And it definitely spiraled way, way further than we ever would have imagined. Because originally James was posting and cross-posting in a lot of other local community groups,
in Lansing, or was this in Oregon?
Lansing and in Lansing. Okay. So the Mason group and the Holt group and all of these
517 Living.
517 Living, who are amazing, and we love Sarah. Yeah. She's just been amazing and very supportive, and and it's been cool to see our groups kind of both grow at similar rates, so we can have somebody to kind of be are you dealing with this? And she can, talk to us too, which is cool. But we definitely, once we hit a certain amount, we're we don't need to grow this anymore. We're good. We don't need to. And I think it was 10,000. We're no, that's enough people. This is enough. And we started onboarding moderators and stuff like that. But we were no, we don't need to promote this. This is enough people. We don't need more people.
So that was kind of that 10,000 mark was where it was just this was fun. This was kind of our hobby. It's our, for lack of a term, our baby. And now it's going to be oh, we got to actually do stuff on this thing. We got to watch what is happening on this thing.
Yeah, create rules. That was right around the time that we started, I think a little bit before that, but James reached out to some of the other foodie groups like Eat GR and like other, other groups in other cities to say like, what kind of rules do you have? Like where, before we are just like, yeah, just everybody join, whatever. We're just, everybody's here. And then we put together a list of rules that are still pretty much the same as they were then. Like,
well, and at the time we also like asked our members what they'd like to see as well. And like a lot of, we're a weird Facebook group. Like, we like, you can't, it's not like the rest of Facebook where you might like get in arguments and just, I don't know, dunk on people, that sort of stuff. We try to keep it positive. We have certain requirements for negative comments and negative reviews. And one of the key things they need to do is reach out to the restaurant and give them a chance to make it right, because we're about building up the Lansing food scene.
Yep.
But yeah, we want to keep it positive. And another key like goal of ours is to support marginalized groups. So we kind of like, we put that all into the group, and it bristles some people's feathers. They get upset because we are kind of weird. Like, this isn't how Facebook is. And
a lot of like free speech, and we're like, no, this is benevolent dictatorship. This isn't,
it's your
democracy.
I mean, you are on somebody else's platform, but that's your space. You can choose. Well, we run into that on our page all the time, where somebody will say something obscure and we'll hide it, and then the next thing underneath is, you just hid my but it's like, this isn't, you don't
we have no,
you don't have a choice in this one. I'm not gonna put our audience out to those kind of remarks. That's just, it's not called for.
Yeah, you don't need to give them a platform.
And if you want to have your own, go ahead. I applaud that. Build your own. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy. But once you get there, say whatever you want. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, more power to you.
Yeah.
But that's always been our take on it. But it seems like we share that kind of same type of thing. Like,
absolutely.
Do whatever you want, just not in here.
Yeah. There's lots of different platforms where you can give negative reviews, and you don't have to. You can just, walk straight out of the Chili's you were at and talk about the, service you got. Like, that's fine. Go to Yelp. We don't need this. Like, this isn't the place for it. And we understand too, is like, so many of the local restaurants are very small businesses, and very much like, one bad review could really hurt them in a way that, a Chili's isn't going to have that same kind of like, and I'm not beating up on Chili's. I've got nothing wrong with Chili's, but I mean, it's a different impact though. And the scale of impact is something that, like, I think that James was really smart when he, worded the way that you can give a review. Cause there is a way that you can go ahead and absolutely be honest, tell us what happened, but it's not, I just got out of there and it's, you reached out to the manager, gave them a chance to make it right. And, and if they didn't, then, this is what the thing was, and you're doing it without emotion. You're not, sitting there, really trying to like rally the troops against a single like local business. Cause it's not helping anybody.
No, it's definitely not positive. And even on, from a restaurant side of things, like, I'll have conversations with my team of, we had multiple opportunities to make this right, and we chose not to. Like, whether it was dine in, did we check back with them, make sure everything was okay? They reached out to us, whatever, email, even on some sort of review. We were given an opportunity to use corrective action and take part, and we opted out for whatever reason, and that's on us. And at that point, if they leave a negative review and it's stuck, like, we got to live with that, and it stinks. I don't want that, obviously, but we do hold some responsibility. We just ask on the other side, just like what you're saying, is give us a chance. Like,
right. And I think, I mean, you definitely know this, how much effort and work goes into running a restaurant, and you put tons of work into it. And it seems like if someone's going to leave a negative review, it should take them more than just like 5 seconds to say like, this sucks, their food's awful. They should like have to put some effort in if they're going to use our platform to talk about it.
Yeah, I think, my daughter did this to me the other day, or she didn't do it to me, but her teacher was, they had this board of like what they want to be, and one of hers was like an influencer or something, and I'm like, Jesus, this is right now. What happened to ballerina? Where did that dream go? Or so I do think from an adult standpoint that the food world, or being a reviewer of food or dining places, is an easy way to get into that online personality, branding kind of yourself as that person where you're not really wrong. It is your opinion on how you, good, bad, or ugly, liked your food or experience, but it's just so quick that I've caught it where, it's a soft opening. And for those who don't know what a soft opening is, it's just a practice run of a restaurant that's there for their staff. Uh, maybe get some people in the door where people leave a negative review about a soft opening.
They're
I'm like,
literally trying to
Yes.
make it so that in the future they don't have
yeah,
the same mistakes.
but
Like,
I feel like it's just somebody wants to be the first person there, show something polarizing, even if it's true or not true. And overall, it doesn't really do anybody any good, except maybe their platform of, oh my gosh, Jimmy was there first, that kind of thing. So it's a weird balance. It can be tough. I also see in the group a lot of people are doing at home stuff. And I think that was a cool, I don't think it was built that way necessarily, but it's a neat pivot halfway in between where it kind of started to become more of like a showcase for your talents.
that was like, I mean, from the get-go, that was one of the things that back in Eugene Foodies was like home cooking and also restaurants and stuff. And it was just kind of, and so we saw that as like an opportunity to like, okay, great, more engage more people by saying, yeah, you can do home cooking. But most people, I don't think were using it as much. But then the pandemic hit.
Yep.
And I think that was also kind of a pivotal time for us to see the group as being like more than just Facebook group, because so many people were getting their full social battery filled by going online and
Yeah, it's
interacting
powerful,
with
right?
everybody.
Yeah.
And then also so many restaurants were having issues, like, but also like I could see like from the beginning of the group to like now where things are at, like the pictures that people take of like what they make at home and the pictures like and what they're making, what they're attempting is just like really gone like so much more like intense, and it's so fun to see it. It's not just Jello salads with
Yeah, or
at their
mocking it,
grills.
or more like saying,
Right.
"Oh, this is what I made. It's a hot dog with ketchup." Like it's now like kind of looked down upon. It's no, you bring your. I mean, I'm sure from your standpoint, whatever is fine. Whatever it is. But I would assume on the consumer standpoint, they're like, "Oh man, this is great. I'm gonna get some comments. I'm gonna get some likes. I'm super excited to put that out there." Do you see trends like certain? I hate to say regulars, but like people that are like, "Oh, Suzanne's posting. It's Thursday. You know that Italian dish is coming your way." Is that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a big one that I like in particular, Jane White. We recently brought her on as a moderator, but for a while she's done Meatless Mondays, and she'll make a home cooked meal, like these real elaborate meals, all sorts of different cuisines, and it's all meatless. And yeah, it's inspirational. It has me thinking to maybe I should adopt it and not eat meat on Mondays. But
That's cool.
yeah,
No, that's so like even on my end, I'm sometimes intimidated to post a food pic on Lansing Foodies. Like, and it's not that I don't think it's worthy of it. It's more just like, I think somebody out there probably has a standard for me. I don't want to disappoint them. And I'll be looking at my phone. I'll be looking at the dish. I don't know if I can
I
edit
get
that.
afraid to
Yeah,
post on
I just
Lansing
don't want to get
Foodies. Like, I'm
groomed.
like, James is like, you're gonna post that cake you made on Lansing Foodies, right? And I'm like, this one that I just threw together. I'm like, okay.
I'm putting that out in public.
Yeah, but I also want to build like my engagement, because that is one of the things that I'd love to talk more about too. We went through a whole like, I don't want to call it a boot camp, but it was a whole intensive program from Facebook directly.
Yeah, let's
Like,
talk about that.
yeah, and like they like guided us on how to like have engagement and how to like boost it and like how to like do all these things without like paying money to Facebook.
So was this built on growing the group's audience or trying
Not
to?
necessarily. So it was it was part of it for some groups, but like it was the Facebook Community Accelerator Program.
Okay.
And they had like different kind of regions throughout the world. And in the North American region, there were about 30
yeah,
cohorts.
30 or 32.
Yeah, of like groups that ranged in size from, I think we were around 40,000 when we started. And then they had like ones that had like millions of members in them. And it was like a whole, range of different things that people were doing. Like there was one other foodies group, and she was in Fort Worth.
Yep.
And her foodies group experience was so different than ours. It was wild. It was like so like
Same idea, totally different experience.
uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, just completely different. And like, and then there were also like one was what was 50 Shades of Pink.
Oh
And
yeah, that was a
the
good.
whole yeah. You saw your eyebrows. It's like, yeah, but it's all about just posting pink things. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
I remember
and
that.
pictures.
No, that yeah, no, that and it was just pictures and it was just there, but that had millions of people in it who just would be like, yeah, good morning. Here's what I saw that I like that's pink. And like here's an inspirational quote on a pink background. And like there was, and then there were, there was like I love thrifting. I love like there was like a ton of sorry, like different like things, but we were all the leaders of Facebook groups, and
Okay.
the way that Facebook encouraged us to apply for it, like because of our engagement. And then we pitched the whole thing just to throw the Olive Burger Festival because there was money involved. There was
Sure.
grant money, but it was also 16 weeks of classes that were like twice a week in like the bigger group settings, and they're all on Zoom. But like they talk about the different features or tools on Facebook that we could use and the ones that they were working on that they wanted us to kind of guinea pig and try out. And then they also had the whole um, other side of it. It was like how to monetize your group, how to like, make it sustainable, because you can't have a big group where you're spending hours and hours of your life doing it if you're not getting any kind of compensation, because then you can't work.
Sure. Totally.
Like, I mean, it becomes a job in a
Yeah.
way. And there were people that had like monetized it so much that were like, oh my gosh, that's insane that you're making that much money off of it, which is never our goal or dream. But we understand like, okay, just to be sustainable, just to do what we want to do, like, let's, look at different things. But um, and then they had a one-on-one coach who would like have sessions with us, and like she did amazing things for helping us pull off the Olive Burger Festival, like
Really?
giving us really great ideas, giving us really great feedback, like helping us put together like a slide deck to get sponsorship and stuff like that. I mean, it was an amazing tool, amazing experience. It was exhausting to go through because it was, 3 times a week we're meeting for hours.
We had homework too.
Yeah, homework to do and like all of this stuff. But we really got like a kind of a crash course in exactly, what people are doing, what best practices are out there, like, and kind of got to hold a mirror to our group and what was going on there. And it was really nice because it was a lot of affirmations as far as like, okay, cool. Like some groups didn't have rules.
Are they looking at your engagement analytics and actually saying, like when you said homework, like you're not doing your homework, like look at your number, like is that really what was kind of happening in that scenario?
Yeah, a little bit. And it was also like, some of the homework was, think about what your like mission statement is. Think about how your leadership structure is. And we restructured how we did like our moderation, because for a while they were like everybody does everything, but then we're like, wait a minute, let's, restructure and really play to our strengths so that not every moderator has to do post approval. Some moderators are really just focused on looking at the comment threads, and that way everybody's not overwhelmed and nobody's stepping on toes and stuff like that. And
It's actually becoming a business at this point, right? You're
yeah,
saying, hey, we've got to put
Literally.
literally, yeah,
people in charge of these things in order to take that next step and grow.
yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
And we are legally a business now. We, as of 4/20/2023, we we chose the day. We're like, yeah, let's do it because it's hilarious. But we did, file our paperwork and became an LLC. But that was just so that we could like get like the insurance and everything needed to do Olive Burger Festival. But also because we were, kind of trending that way to being a business. If we want to do more big events and we want to be more, you know, outside of just Facebook,
Yeah.
we need to be able to have a structure for that.
What does that time crunch look for like for you guys? Like when you obviously started hobby, you had that like kind of mile marker at 10,000 to like, we don't need to go any further than this. I'm assuming at that point you're actually doing some sort of work or having to like keep an eye on the baby so something crazy doesn't happen. Well, now you're to this point where you've gone through a class. It's what I consider kind of the biggest voice on Facebook as far as Lansing goes. If you want to know, kind of something, that's a good place to go. Um, what does that look like for you? How much time are you putting into this? How many is it moderators do you have
Yep.
on your squad? And
We have, I think, 7 moderators now. But
And then us too. So total of 9 in the leadership team there.
yeah, and part of me or us deciding to do the Facebook Accelerator program was Erin taking it on as her job, like
okay,
Lansing Foodies, including putting on the Olive Burger Festival. So that's Erin's main job. I work full time as a reporter, but like I still probably devote close to I mean, I'd say on average, hour and a half a day,
Okay.
to working on the group. Just, yeah, making sure my fingers are on the pulse.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but
It's harder to gauge, like, I mean, as far as like the actual like Facebook of it all, like I'm on there on and off all throughout the day.
Yeah.
But we try to like let the moderators do as much as they can on the Facebook group, but we also want to like, I mean, it's been growing, I mean, since Olive Burger Festival. Like, so when we started the Facebook like accelerator program, which was like November of 2023 is when it started. So like we were right in the middle of it last year this time, and we were about 40,000. We're at 60,000 now.
Okay.
So more members, more problems, like as far as like more moderation that's needed. Like
Good, sure. More members,
yeah.
more problems.
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, but as far as like going through comment threads, more posts that need approved and everything. So like, I think we still are going to end up like growing our moderator team even more because we, you know, we started with 2 and then we added a couple more and then we added, you know, and we just onboarded Jane White, like James said, and that's great, but we're still like growing. And as we look at making more events and stuff like that, like we've got 60,000 people. And if you look at Lansing proper, that's 100,000 people. So it seems like we've got a really big population, but it's
There's a
all
lot
the
to be
greater
had, yeah,
Lansing
totally.
area. And, you know, looking at it statistically, I think you did the math and we're at like 10%.
10 or 15% of the metro area.
Yeah. So
You got to
there's,
figure people are coming and going too. Like,
yeah.
you know, there's somebody from 5 years ago that lives in Scottsdale that's still a member of Lansing Foodies. So
Yep.
that's an interesting one. So how much, walk me through the moderator part of it. Are you training the moderators? Is this like, do you have Monday meetings? Like what?
We should have more meetings than we have. And in the past, we've like had a lot more like, you know, in-person get-togethers where we have like dinners and stuff with them. We haven't done a lot of, we should do more like in-person meetings, but when we onboard them though, we do have like kind of a guide for moderation, which James put together, just kind of like, this is how I moderate. And like, and that gives them kind of like some guidelines for how to like go through and look at things and keep like that level of like content and, you know, group rule adherence that we've kind of set that, you know, expectation for. But then we also like have a separate group that's like a secret moderator only group that we really, that's where we do a lot of like the hands-on conversations with our moderators. So it's like a, hey, you know, we take a screen capture. What do you guys think about this post? Like, or hey, keep an eye on this post, the comment thread, I just cleaned it up, but it might go on fire again. So it's a really great tool for us to like really have that like kind of real time. And the moderators, like some of them have been around for what, 5 years, like they've, you know, have a very solid, like, you know, they help each other just as much. Like, it's not just us saying like, no, do it this way. It's a lot of like, we've tried to give a lot more, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? The like,
Empower them.
yeah, empowerment to like make those choices and to make kind of their, whatever their kind of focus is, like the, you know, people that just are doing post approvals as their main kind of task, like you get to decide what that looks like. We're not going to tell you that you are doing it wrong because like, yeah, we might not make the same decisions, but you definitely. So our moderators have a lot to say as far, or a lot to do with like the tone of the group and like how it's, you know, the day to day of, you know, how the culture is in the group, which is really great. Like,
and I'd like to name drop our moderators just because they do an amazing job.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Kevin Stoner and Rachel Kay have been there from like they were our first moderators, and then we brought
them
on
out to Little Soup Spoon Cafe and like had our little guide of like, this is how we moderate and like
yep. And then we brought on Shara from Agape
She's
Organic
great.
Farms. Yeah, she's awesome. And Shay. And then we've got Tim Decker, Aaron Bobian, and Jane White, of course.
Yeah.
And really hope I'm not missing anyone. I don't think I am.
No, that's everyone.
Yeah, they've been so.
It sounds like
they're
you
all
handpick
awesome.
them.
Oh yeah,
We should do a job posting, and just to see what
okay,
comes
we
out
did
of
that, and that's how we
Yeah.
got the first 4. So
we started with an application.
yeah, we started with the application, and it was like a whole like form they had to fill out and everything. And then from there, we were like, oh, let's start handpicking because I mean, it was a whole like, it was hard to kind of weed out everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And like, and also like, there's only so much you can do as far as like telling how it's going to be like to work with somebody or what their, I don't know, their vibe is as far as like their style on Facebook
Yep.
from like a form. versus like if we know these people, like I mean, especially through the moderation, we've become friends with them. Like, these are some of our good friends now. And like,
Yeah.
it's, I don't know. I think that there's a certain level of like quality when we just kind of pick out like who are like, hey, and we ask our moderators, hey, who would you nominate? Or what do you think about this person before we bring on anybody new, which is really nice.
And our goal too, when we're choosing moderators, is to get different perspectives as well. So that we're not just like all like the same, looking at things from the same angle. Like we want to get like, a bunch of different opinions.
People come from different places. Like,
Yep.
I think that's totally fine. But then there's somebody else going,
exactly.
this might not be the best.
Yeah, having like, somebody who owns a business like
Yep.
Shara on there saying like, oh, well, from a business owner's perspective, like, why wouldn't we like look at it this way? Or from a vegetarian perspective, like from, just, all these different kind of really great. Yeah, we've got everybody bring something different to the table, which is really nice to be able to kind of mix together and ultimately they're just really like nice people that want the same things that we want as far as like a positive, happy space that everybody feels really welcome and uplifted in. Like that's all that we're trying to do. So
yeah, I've always felt like your moderators are pretty aligned. Even they Shar messaged me the other day about the pizza oven. Like, hey, found this on Marketplace. I like to post these in the group, but I didn't want to do it if you were interested. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I don't need another toy right now. But that's very thoughtful. Like that's somebody that's saying, hey, I think the group would love to see this, but I also am being trying to be a little bit respectful here. Like, reach out to me and whatever. So I've always been impressed by the moderators. I think they've done a good job from what I've seen. I don't know anything.
oh no, they're doing amazing. They're phenomenal.
So on the monetizing standpoint, you're in this. You took this class or its course, and they brought up monetization, and you've obviously had to put some of that into play. One being the Olive Burger Fest. Um, do you want to hit on that? You want to should we hash that one out real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the other piece of monetization that we've like done and like we're still kind of like we're not really hard as far as like pursuing it, but the sponsorship of the group. So we've got our partners that we've got a couple of different levels where like you can just, we don't allow self-promotion in the group, like from most businesses, just as a general rule, because otherwise the group content would be like just a lot of people like, this is our Thursday special, this is our like, and it just would get boring and it would not be engaging. And
I've seen a lot of foodie groups where like that's basically the only post is restaurants promoting themselves, and yeah, we didn't want that.
Yeah, and it's not as like, I don't know, versus somebody like, I just went here and this is amazing. That's way better promotion for you anyways.
Yeah, totally.
Like, but we do allow, if we had and we have some sponsors that like, they're like, okay, we want to be able to self-promote in the group. We've got rules where they can only, self-promote twice in a week. So they're not just spamming the group. And then we do special things like, put them on our website. We just did a promo with WLNS to plug our support month, and we're able to put our sponsors' logos on that. So they're getting extra exposure out of it. And then they give us, we've got a sliding scale for the type of business. A home baker isn't going to be paying the same as like a brick and mortar restaurant per month. And then we have a fee and it's kind of, that's one thing. And then we've got a higher level that nobody has ever opted for, but we've got it on there just as a possibility. And I think that a lot of restaurants could potentially, really benefit from it because they aren't necessarily as social media savvy and they haven't taken classes from Facebook that have, given us the insight and experience,
Yeah, the higher level is where we post on, like, we go there and we like try a place and we like post their food and post our thoughts as well.
We create the content,
right, which is more work on our part, and that's why.
Gotcha. So you're almost taking on
their marketing.
Their marketing, yeah,
right.
Social media.
And yeah, we haven't had any bites on that, which is fine with us. Like Aaron said, we're not really pursuing sponsors hardcore, but we like to have it as an option out there. And we also want to make sure they get the most out of it, most value for their money.
So what is when you talk about that sponsorship side of things, like who's an ideal candidate for something like that on a restaurant group? Like for Myself, it's not you said it, but like, if you were going to pick your target market for that, who would that be? What kind of restaurant is it that would really, like, you think that your space would impactfully help their business?
I'd say it's probably one that's like kind of unassuming, that's kind of flying under the radar. That like they have beautiful dishes and maybe they uh don't have like the social media following that they'd like.
Smaller following, but still have a presence.
Yep.
Maybe they're getting showcased a little bit on Lansing Foodies or other groups
Okay.
as from a positive standpoint. They're just the small business owner that's just not crazy on social media. That's behind the scenes, really working their tail off, and that's
Making like amazing like dishes and like doing seasonal menus, but want to like, but don't have like a good, route to communicate that. And maybe don't
totally,
even have a huge marketing budget. Cause I feel like that's a thing that like maybe isn't as well known out there. And it was something that they really talked about a lot in the Facebook courses we took, like, or meta courses, whatever you call them. They were meta, like,
too. Is that the common like, nope, nope,
Oh yeah.
meta,
Don't say
like, again.
meta and
yeah.
but they really did talk about how from a marketing standpoint social media is kind of one of those things that not as many people understand as well as they understand like kind of the old school radio, TV, newspaper, or even billboards. But like social media, like if you can get in there, it's so much more cost efficient. And especially when we're talking about Lansing Foodies, we've cultivated an audience very specific
Totally.
to exactly what restaurants in the
Yeah.
area want to reach. Like, here you go,
Yeah.
silver platter. And then also like we've, and one of the things that we do offer our sponsors too is kind of like a guide to like, kind of some bullet points of like how to make an engaging post,
Mhm.
because we've done the analytics on it, like where we've, figured out that like on, the average word count for the most popular posts is this. And, we definitely would recommend pictures and not videos because videos don't get any traction in our group.
Yeah.
They do in some groups, but just not ours. People don't want to watch videos.
I've
Like,
had a ton of luck with videos. Like
yeah,
shorts, we can get them every now and then, stuff like that. But
yeah. They kept
videos,
trying to get us to do reels and we're like,
Yeah.
no, it's not working. We don't want
yeah,
to do it anymore.
yeah,
But a
it's
good
constantly
picture.
always changing though too. Like
Yeah.
that's something that they're, I think if somebody want to get involved, they're investing in too. Is that you have your hand on your finger on the pulse. You have resources. You know the people behind these things that, hey, these aren't working. Why is that? Oh, well, instead of 12 words, maybe bring it down to 8. That could help. So those are probably really advanced for some people, but there's a lot of people out there that just still post the same old things.
Yeah, and as like part of going through the accelerator program, I'm a numbers dude, and I look at the engagement for all the posts, and a good post in our group is about over it reaches over 10,000 people, and like most of my posts reach that many. Our sponsor posts usually reach at least. I'm just here to brag.
Yeah,
And most of our
just 10,000.
sponsors reach at least 1,000 people with their posts, and if you look at like the costs, if you were to advertise on Facebook, you'd be paying like a lot more. And also, if you do Facebook ads, your money is going to Meta.
Hmm.
Whereas if you're paying for, or if you're sponsoring Lansing Foodies and advertising in there, the money stays local. Chances are
It's a good
we're
way to
going
look at that. Yeah, I
yeah,
guess I wasn't even thinking about it like that.
And we're likely just to use the food to eat out anyways.
exactly.
It's like where
The
most of
future
our
other,
like
yeah.
budget of like, yeah, Lansing Foodies goes to like, we got a big chunk of so we got the grants from Meta last year and like part of the, money we were used for last year's support month. And then most of it went to Olive Burger Festival, but we were able to go and like buy gift cards from all of the restaurants last year. And like, also we ate out at ton of them so we could take pictures and then like go and
Yep.
use them to promote the restaurants during support month.
Hmm.
And it definitely, I mean, we aren't in any way taking money from local businesses to like move it out of the area. We're
No.
very much invested in like helping the area
Yeah,
continue
totally.
to be big.
Totally.
So I think that that's one of the things too that helps, and I'm not saying that just to try to get more sponsors. It's just a matter of fact. Like we love to eat out locally and we're trying to like eat at all the restaurants, but it takes a lot of time and it's expensive.
But I think people need to know, like, there are, this isn't, I think it's really easy for somebody to say, take a picture and post it on Facebook, and that's how you grow your business, where it's really a lot more than that. Like, it is there, that is part of it. That's a good jump starting thing, but there is a lot more that goes into it. So at some point, if you're juggling 100 other things and you're not even, maybe half of those are going okay, you can't just start doing this and expecting results. So that's where I'm kind of leaning your guys' way of saying, get with the right group, figure it out. Like, it might cost you a little bit of money, but value your time, value your learning curve of, like, not only do I not have time to do this, but to get to this level is going to take a ton of time, a ton of effort. Like, just squash this and have somebody else do it. Let me focus on this.
And I will say that, like, one of the things that we like to do every year, like, this is our 4th annual, I'm just going to pivot into support month. Because we don't, like, ever want it to be like a gatekeeping where you can't ever get exposure in the group. Like, if you don't have the money, you don't have the social media presence, because there's some restaurants, if you look at their thing, like, Facebook made a page for them as like a placeholder, and it doesn't have any pictures of anything, and it doesn't have any information on it. And they might not even have a website that's really functional. Like, you have to, like, literally just go into the restaurant. Either they're new, or a lot of them are maybe English as a second language, and they're just hardworking families that are just pouring their love into their food, but they're not even like that internet part of it is just kind of out of their scope of, like, what they're doing. And I I think that, it's what we do each year is like support month. Like, trying to, like, how did I?
Well, yeah, we sure. In January we reach out to our members and be like, hey, support month's coming up. What are some of the restaurants that you see that may be struggling, like you've gone there recently and like you were the only person eating there? Places that could really use our help. And we get lots of nominations from our members. Our members are awesome and giving us a huge list to work with. And from that, we like whittle it down. We try to keep it a diverse spectrum of cuisine. This year, we are trying to do more restaurants that we hadn't necessarily supported before, and also kind of keep it spread geographically throughout the greater Lansing area.
Okay.
And then for the 4 weeks of February, each week we support 7 restaurants. And members can post photos of their food from eating there with the hashtag. This year it's hashtag LFSM 2024. So Lansing Foodie Support Month 2024. Better than spelling it out.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, we're going to do a drawing from those people who entered by posting that.
Okay.
And we've got all sorts of prizes, gift certificates to local restaurants, different appliances, like air fryers, just because of my job. Yeah.
Yes, appliances.
Yeah.
Small kitchen appliances, like air.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No washer or dryer or anything.
No water.
Small appliances. Yeah. A furnace. No. Well, we do have
It's
space.
been a great month. It's been a great month. Do those space heaters now. Don't wait.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Get rid of them.
60 degrees, man.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah. But by incentivizing people to go to these restaurants and post about them, like, everyone else is seeing what these restaurants have to offer, and so it kind of snowballs, and the restaurants see business like even after support month.
That's awesome,
because people are learning about
that's awesome. Yeah, I think that just getting the word out about restaurants is very impactful. There's a lot of times where I think people look at even Saddleback and they think that this is a big restaurant, but I'll walk in someplace and I'll start talking like, where are you located? I didn't even know you were there. And it's like, I mean, and not to toot our own horn, but like, we get a lot of exposure. So if people don't know about us, like, the guy down the road that's really trying, probably not happening. So it's tough. So I think that's great. I think that, you know, restaurants are fortunate to have that option, that kind of group that will support them and is looking out for them. And yeah, it's just amazing.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And I feel like we could probably take most of the credit for Saddleback being open because you have been a support restaurant in the past.
Yes.
So no, heck
Well,
no,
you know,
you guys are amazing.
yeah,
You guys are,
yeah, no, and
you're on the
and same thing. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's good exposure. It helps, and we're all restaurants are dealing with that same thing. We need sales. We got to pay for the food. That's
and January and
ridiculous.
February are
Brutal
like
months.
brutal months. Yeah,
Just
we know that, and that's the whole reason why
devastating.
we did the timing of it. Like, and this is, and it's not something that we're looking to get anything out of. So, like, I feel like we're doing bad still at monetizing it. Like the group, like we really aren't. Like the Olive Burger Festival is probably just going to be like the thing that kind of carries us year to
Mhm.
year, which is fine. Like that works out well. Like if that's what is kind of our moneymaker and we're able to do all the other things, but like we don't want it to be a thing where we're just out there trying to make money off the community. Like that doesn't bring us joy. We are very fortunate, like as far as what James does for a living, like, like as and we moved from Oregon. We're like, the housing prices are what? And bought a gigantic house, like that we have lots of space. We have lots of like, we just feel really fortunate. Like, so it's not like we need, that much like for us to continue like being very comfortable. So it's not like we're looking for, ways to monetize it.
No,
But what we have found is that like, there's just lots of opportunities for more and more things that the community wants. Like we're doing restaurant week, but the cool thing is through us doing, the events that we have done, like Olive Burger Festival, that really kind of brought us to a whole nother level as far as like making a lot of community contacts. And now we're working with Lansing 501,
okay,
which is a local
yep,
nonprofit, and their whole like focus is keeping young professionals in the
in the
Lansing
Lansing area,
area,
yeah,
which is exactly the kind of people that have the income that you need to like eat out a lot.
totally,
So like this is a perfect
yep,
like I'm like, oh great, you want to know about restaurants. But like it's really a nice like our missions kind of line up in a way that we're able to partner with them to put on Lansing's first restaurant week, which will be in May leading up to 517 Day.
okay,
And they're also doing the Best of Lansing again on, I think May 18th at the Capitol this year. So
okay,
like, and so it'll be this really cool culmination. We're still working out all the details, but
sure,
like, we'll be able to start recruiting restaurants to, have something to, showcase during that week, which will even give more, opportunity for exposure and stuff. So we're
okay,
really looking at, I mean, if you look at kind of what our mission is like kind of Lansing Foodies has three things that we're really looking at. It's restaurants, local restaurants, uplifting them, giving them, kind of the opportunity to get a lot of love and celebration, local cooking, or I mean, home cooking, like everybody cooking, showing off what their recipes are, they're, getting tips and like, really supporting each other for cooking at home, but then also food security. So the other thing that we've done in the past and we'll look forward to doing in the future is like doing fundraisers for like Greater Lansing Food Bank. We've did like a cookie swap last year where we took all the leftover cookies, or they weren't leftovers. We made people bring an extra dozen cookie and then like
okay,
made sure to put them in like local free stands at the Fledge.
oh,
Like
nice,
it was right around the time when they were doing all the warming center stuff.
okay,
So like
yep,
it was really great time. I'm like, here's some cookies.
yep,
But they were all gorgeous, like different types of cookies. And I think that that's something that we would like to build on too, is like really, just kind of, filling all those buckets because I mean, all of that kind of lends to a full and holistic, like good food scene. I keep hitting this microphone. I'm so sorry.
no, I mean,
There's something in my face.
it sounds to me like from the monetary side, it's important because that is your livelihood. But on the same side, that there is this huge fulfillment because you guys are kind of doing what you want to do. It sounds like you really like your job. Sounds like Lansing Foodies is really taking off. You're hitting these points that mean something to you, which is pretty fortunate and pretty damn cool. Like, right? Like that's, I mean, you guys threw a festival for an Olive Burger. Like, would you really think about that? That's pretty badass, right?
Yeah. You say us guys, but you helped. Matt was on the committee.
Yeah, you were there too.
Yeah.
You
And you
made
were
it
very
happen. Oh
helpful.
my gosh.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
Without you, there
Yeah.
would be no vendors that day. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Weird day. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
I
my
wanted to step
wow.
counter so bad. Like Malik was saying, "I'm going to bring a scooter," and in my mind, I was laughing about it. Why do you need a scooter?
Yeah.
About within hour two, I was like, "Scooter would have been real nice today."
We'll bring one next year.
Yeah, a lot of scooters, a lot of
We'll also
cyclists.
do like maybe the health inspection different and have everybody
Well,
like
now we know it though. Like
yeah.
we're way ahead of it. That's
We
that
don't have to
was.
rebuild the wheel next
Oh
year.
no,
Yep.
no. There
Which we
was.
can announce the next date.
Yeah, let's do
October
it.
5th is going to
Okay,
be our next
awesome.
so it won't be a super hot day, and we won't be competing with all the grad parties and weddings and every other festival kicking off in June. So
And the Spartans will be in Oregon. So,
Oh really?
yeah.
That's weird, huh?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about that.
My two alma maters going. Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaways from the Olive Burger Fest? Like I remember us kind of halfway through sitting up there going, like I couldn't. It felt like a first day for a restaurant. Like from the restaurants that I opened, it was just like you had a plan, kind of got thrown out the window. You're just trying to make it work at this point, and I think we're succeeding, but I don't know. Sometimes it feels like we are. Sometimes it feels like this is going all over the place. Like walk me through kind of that emotional roller coaster that you guys experienced because that had to have been overbearing.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, Aaron was the head honcho, but I just wanted to share like the next morning we went out to breakfast at Golden Harvest because we wanted to have a long meeting and
my sister came from California.
That's right.
She was
Yep.
very
Yeah,
pregnant,
that's right.
very cute baby, very healthy, but like we wanted to give her a Golden Harvest experience
Yeah, sure.
because she needed like a whole plate full of carbs.
and we wanted to have a long meeting and the food kind of comes out slowly there, but it's because it's amazing.
Yep.
But we sat down and took like 7 pages of notes
Oh,
of
smokes.
yeah, what we learned, what we want to do differently. And, one of them, of course, is moving to the fall because who wants to eat a mayonnaise based burger in the 90-degree heat,
Brutal
like
day.
with
Oh
in
my
the
God.
sun?
Just
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, we
And
got
the
lots of
basement
comments about just the heat.
and the lines. And so we talked about setting it up differently. Like, I think there were a lot of things that we learned. And I think that we, I mean, we kept saying, we know it's going to sell out. It's going to sell out. And we kept saying it publicly. And I think we kind of believed it. But I feel like even like at those last couple of meetings, it was like, yeah, totally, we're going to. But it
Yeah.
was like a kind of almost a false bravado about
Yep.
it. But we sold out within half an hour. Like, and when we went out to look at the gates, like right when they opened, like after, so we had the VIP for an hour and then we had the gates open and there was a line that went all the way around. And
Yep.
like, I just got like chills and I almost started crying because it was just like, this is way bigger than I expected
Yeah,
it to be.
totally.
I don't think that we understood what nerve we were going to hit when we said Olive Burger Festival, which we should have known because we announced it last November, like, over a year ago, like, we got accepted to this program. We're going to throw an Olive Burger Festival. That made front page of the newspaper. And like, that should have been an indicator. And then we're like, kept joking, like, we have to do this because otherwise it's gonna be like a fire festival thing or whatever. But like, we didn't realize that it would be, I don't know, but people didn't mind like standing in line as much as we had feared that they would. And like, I think that a lot of the lessons that we learned were kind of like after the fact because during the day, like you were there, we were just constantly just
I
like,
mean, you didn't have time to like
5 different things
yeah,
coming
it
at
was
the whole time. And I was just like, okay.
yeah, the anxiousness of the unknown was just like the after the VIPs got like when the VIPs were there, I was like, this is gonna be fine. This is gonna be fine. And it was just like that, and I'm like, I can't even walk through this thing anymore. And
No, everybody showed up at the same time.
Michiganders are punctual.
yeah, they do.
And we're
Yeah.
gonna
But this
the
is
like
going down.
hours and stuff, and that'll be something we talk about with the bigger community, be like, what really makes sense. But like I've already kind of tentatively thrown out some hour ideas with the ballpark so that just when we were signing the contract. But as far as like, yeah, I think that there were definitely a lot of things that we learned. There weren't enough vendors, like at
Yeah.
all. But again,
We knew that.
we knew that before we even.
That's why that was the main factor that capped how many tickets we sold. Because
Like just getting over that hump. I mean, even for me, it's like now I know what kind of response is going to be there. If I have to schedule that now, possibly turn down a catering, there might be more value on the actual Olive Burger side than taking that business.
The nice thing is the thing we did with the food tickets, we were able to like, 'cause we had everybody run food tickets instead of like taking money. And that way they gave us their tub of food tickets. We counted them out. We did it by weight and like added, rounded up for everybody.
Yeah.
But we were able to get some solid numbers that we can give vendors in the future and say, like, look, on average, this is how much each vendor made, so that vendors can come into it and it's not this big unknown, which every vendor that showed up, we were so grateful they were there. They were excited to be a part of it, but they were really rolling the dice. Like, who knows, is this going to be worth it?
Yeah, totally.
Like, but it was worth it for everyone. I think that
Yeah.
even, you know, the lowest amount of, it would still be a really good business day as far as like a smaller restaurant.
Sure, yeah. I was going on like when I was seeing if like dude, they're gonna run out of food and they're gonna be pissed they didn't bring more, or they're just so far behind
Mhm.
that they brought too much food. They're just not gonna be able to cook it all like that. Either one, I had concerns, but there's no way to know. Like
Mhm.
again, the tickets weren't sold out till day of, right? Like so there was no gauging what this was gonna look like or how it was gonna be, and that is the hard part about from the food side of scheduling this out and making it like financially safe to take advantage of. But now I think this will be sold out, I don't know, weeks if not a month before.
We're growing it, but we're growing it incrementally. We're not going to go from 2,500 people to 5,000 people.
Yep.
We're going to go to probably 4,000, but still, like, but that is the most that'll
Four
fit
thousand nine hundred
inside though.
ninety
We're
nine.
not going to,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
no, but we're going to be using the same amount of space.
Hmm.
We'll have more vendors, which will make it easier to kind of, and we'll also set them up so that people can actually use all of those empty seats.
Yep.
But we are not going to do the thing that some of the other events that are regulars there, they like go and they close down Michigan and they spill out that way and fence it off. We're not ready for that yet.
Yep.
And it doesn't make sense for us to be like, well, it was so popular last year that we're not going to go that route, but we do want to grow it year after year and keep adding kind of fun features to it that make it just kind of this tradition that everybody really enjoys going to, knows what to expect, and that vendors are eager to come back to. And from the vendors we've talked to, like they want to come back
Oh,
next
I'm
year.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Like I mean, obviously we want burgers, but if we did the pizza side of things, like I think it would be great. Like it's good exposure. It's there. It keeps everything relevant. I'm actually kind of excited to see if anybody who doesn't do burgers does do kind of like that spin-off type of thing and say like, hey, we want to be a part of this so bad, but we make Thai food. How do we incorporate these things? That'd be a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's like since my buddy Ryan Ward and I first talked about the Olive Burger Festival like 5 or 6 years ago, we talked about like how it'd be awesome to have like different cuisines doing their
Yeah.
like take on the Olive Burger with their cuisine, like not necessarily with a bun and that sort of
Yeah.
thing, but I mean, Saddleback's Olive Burger Pizza would be awesome to have
Yeah, it'd be
there.
fun. It'd be fun. I just kind of want to see in the masses side by side of like how it performs. Like if everybody's like,
Hong
"Don't eat
Kong's
that
Olive Burger
trash."
rolls sold out like first thing.
Hong
And
Kong's did
yeah,
really?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah,
I didn't know those were Olive Burger egg rolls.
yeah, they had Olive Burger egg rolls, and yeah, they were gone probably in the first hour, and then
Hmm.
yeah, it was just everything else they brought. But like they also, yeah, I would love to see like cute little Olive Burger themed things, like Olive Burger cupcakes, where it doesn't necessarily
Wow.
taste like Olive Burgers, but it looks like an Olive Burger and it's
Yeah,
super cute, like or a macaron. Like I feel like
that's
there's a
cool.
lot of opportunities, and like artists can come and like bring. That's one of the things that like we didn't have a whole lot of non-food vendors on purpose because
Hmm.
we didn't want it to be like an arts and crafts fair,
Yeah.
like because that's not what it was. It was a
Yep.
food festival, but we would love to incorporate more opportunities for people to come and just celebrate the Olive Burger, and it doesn't have to be through food. We had Paint Your Poison did a really good job of like creating some awesome like wooden burgers and olives, like, and I'd love to see more of that, like
Yeah.
because it is a very unique thing to our area. It's not, this isn't like, a cheeseburger that
Yeah.
you could eat
Totally.
anywhere. Like it's an Olive Burger. It's very here.
And that's what I
Yeah.
love about the festival. That it kind of showcases Lansing. I think you could make an argument it showcases all of Michigan, and it isn't just not to dump on chicken wings, but it's not just something where you could go get it anywhere. Like there's actual substance behind the festival where you can get excited about it. Like you're not going to find that in Denver. It's just not going to happen. Here in Lansing, yes, this will happen, and that's what I think is cool about. What do you guys? I mean, you have to sit back and go, where can this Lansing Foodies, where can this Olive Burger go? Like, how big can this get? when's your next 10,000 members? Like, when's that next plateau of saying, oh, here we are again. We got to talk about this. Like, we got to sit back. Another meeting at Soup Spoon where we got to have a lifelong conversation about where this is going.
Yeah, I think more events is kind of the direction where we're going.
Okay.
Just there's so much to celebrate in Lansing, and it's a great way to like showcase several restaurants at once. The restaurant week is an example of events. I'd kind of love to do a burger week eventually too. And that would be like where you go to you kind of have like a passport and you go to a bunch of different restaurants that serve burgers, and they have like a fixed price, and you just get to try as many during the week and then maybe vote on your best.
Okay.
And a lot of other cities do that. And yeah, we have all sorts of like different event ideas.
Well, another thing that we were thinking too, like, because we do a best of lists. That's another kind of that we didn't talk about with the group that has been like a huge kind of piece that restaurants have really enjoyed, is that we've got these best of lists, and it's like, best tacos, best Indian food, best, and we've got it all on our website. We've compiled these polls from the group, and you get, how many on average would you say responses do you get on those polls? Like,
It's usually like at least 200, and sometimes it's in the thousands
of people voting on, like, what their favorite breakfast place is.
Wow.
And then we've got, so we've just got tons of these lists of, the best of, and it'd be really cool if we could start doing kind of what other places are doing, like, the top 10, top of the town or whatever, like having a nice little plaque to say Lansing Foodies, the members voted you the best, and here's something that you can put in your,
we have them up on our wall. Yeah,
exactly. And so that's another kind of thing that's on our radar, as far as like, oh, that's another way that we can be adding kind of a more value to what we're doing and making it more, outside of just a Facebook group. So
absolutely. Well, we're wrapping up on time here. Let's get a plug. Where can people find you? What should we be looking out for?
I was about to say, for those best of lists, you can go to Lansing Foodies Rec, and that's REC, lansingfoodiesrec.com. And that takes you right to the best of lists on our website. And our website is lansingfoodies.com.
And you can go to the Olive Burger Festival from there. You can go to, find out more information about sponsorship there. You can find out, kind of what we're doing, as like all of our support month stuff is there. So as we do more events, we'll keep it, on our main website.
And there's also a link to the Facebook group where all the magic happens. And
so best way to probably start off is get on Facebook, join Lansing Foodies. Is there a big questionnaire?
There's 3 questions, and you have to agree to the rules. And there are correct answers.
Questions.
There are correct answers.
Yeah.
But they're all a chance to know. Like, they're really easy, but like there are wrong answers. And
it's all about like kind of like supporting our mission of like supporting marginalized people and lifting up the Lansing food scene. And
Okay. Well, great, guys. I really appreciate you coming out today. This went by way faster than last week. So it's been a lot of fun. I think this has been very informative. I'm excited to work on other projects. This has been great. Thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you, Matt. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks.